Hello and welcome to Dystopian Electronics Workshop. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the unidentified components we got out of the dumpster dive box and see if we can get the EL wire working. Every year, more than 20 tons of electronics are thrown away. At Dystopian Electronics Workshop, we harvest this waste stream to build cool experiments and upgrade our workshop. During the live stream, we took a look at these components and determined that they were diodes. But we had two different components with no markings that we weren't sure what they were. So today, we're going to see if we can figure out what these are. I just wanted to show you, before we got started, here is one of those components that we took a look at in the first video. And to compare, I'm going to pull a component from a second tape, try not to lose it. And right there underneath it, you can see the component from the second reel. These are significantly smaller. There's a couple of different options I have for testing this. First, that would seem easy, is just to get our tester here and try it out and see what we get. The problem is this component is so tiny. You can see, here's the ends of my tester. It's going to be hard to even get those on there. But let's see if we can get it to work. Oh. And not only did we not get it to work, that component went flying. So let's give it one more shot and then we'll move on to other methods of testing. What I think we're going to do here is try to solder some tiny little leads onto those so that we can test. We'll grab some of the wire from the ant phone. So once again, just to give you an idea how tiny this is, here's that wire from the ant phone that I'm going to try to solder on. Strip a tiny bit at the end. Is that going to work? We'll find out. First off, I'm just going to put a tiny bit of solder on the end of the wire. Okay, we got one end soldered on. Tin the end of this wire. Okay, that may be the worst soldering job I've ever done. To be fair, this is pretty tiny. That gives us something to attach our leads to at least. So let's see. It's our little bodge job. If we can get a reading off it. Okay, 8296 ohm resistor. Next we have the second tape. It has the same size components, but they could be a completely different type of component. To test these, we're going to use the PCB that we got in the dumpster dive box. I don't have the components to populate this board, and I'm not even sure it would work if I did. What it does have is solder pads that are sized for our mystery component. And once we have it soldered on there, it should be a lot easier to test. First off, I'm going to swap out my soldering tip for one that is proper for what we're doing. I got my surface mount soldering tip. Why didn't I do that for the first component? You never know what tools you're going to have available. So it's good to be able to do things with various levels of technology. While I'm waiting for the soldering iron to heat up, I'll pop one of these guys out, and I think we're going to try to go just between those two pads right there. So first thing, in those connections. Get this little component out. I'm just going to heat up these pads and drop the component right into place. Now that I got those components in place, it should be slightly easier to test this. So despite being a different reel, it's coming out as an 8,260 ohm resistor. So it looks like we got two partial reels of 8K surface mount resistors. I went ahead and marked both of these tapes as 8.2K resistors. I'll go ahead and get those and the diodes added in the inventory. Now we have some surface mount components if we need to do some SMD repair, or if we just need a really tiny resistor for something. Now, next I want to talk about this EL wire that we got from the dumpster dive box. During the live stream I tested it and it didn't seem to work. Afterward, I realized that I was using rechargeable batteries, which have a lower voltage than standard alkaline batteries. I swapped them out, and it works. Turns out that what we got is chasing EL wire. I'll add a link to the product page for this in the show notes below. Now, let's take a look at how it works. On the side of this controller, you got a button. If you hit that, it's going to take you through a couple of different effects with the EL wire. Looks like there's 3 different looks: forward, backwards, and constant on. And this knob on the side either slows down the movement or speeds it up. So it does in fact work. This rechargeable battery you can see is 1.2 volts, and this Duracell Pro Cell is 1.5 volts. But this battery here that we pulled out of the vape is a 3.7 volt. So let's solder it in and see if we can make this EL wire a little bit brighter. The first step I'm going to take is just desoldering this existing wire. Both ends. It's actually fairly easy to do. Because it's already tin, I'm just going to use this wire that we used earlier in the video. Open this up. I'm just going to tack this onto the 2 connectors here. So if you look at our battery here, you can see the part with the nub is the positive. That normally connects here. And the back side would normally connect to the spring here. So that's going to be our negative. So here we're going to have our negative and positive. I'm just going to solder that right there. And we should be powered up. You notice that I put the cover back on. Part of the reason I did that is the way this circuit works is it boosts the voltage from a very low voltage to an incredibly high voltage to run the EL wire. So even if you're mostly careful, there's a good chance of getting shocked from the very high voltage that's on that circuit board in there. Now that we have the new battery installed, let's see if we can tell that it's working. And we've got some functional EL wire powered by one of our vape batteries. Well, that's all we have for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Also, check out our website at dystopianelectronicsworkshop.com, where you'll find reviews, links to buy merchandise, and to join the underground workshop. Until next time, you get out there and do something. Ooh, that is significantly brighter.